I want to start this video by prefacing it that I was actually never really a full-on party animal, what you would describe a joke, right? But I did spend half of my 20s, the first half of my 20s, doing my fair share of being social, going out, partying, the whole 9 yards, going to university, the whole thing, right? And so contrast that with the last 4 years when I quit drinking, I quit going out, smoking, raving, everything, any distractions, Netflix, social media, you name it, right? And so the reason why I'm starting with this is because I want you to think that wherever you are at this on this continuum right now, you can actually do it. You can actually transform yourself, not by resisting what you're doing right now, not by forcing yourself with brute discipline, although that works as well. And if that's how you're doing it, then more power to you. But simply by basically changing the paradigm through which you look at this thing in the first place, which is why it may seem impossible and unrealistic to be able to do it. And like a whole ordeal, and like nothing that you can think of would be worse than it at all. Okay. And so how did I actually do it? How did I start doing this, and why did I do it? Why you should do it, and some of the tactics that I've utilized, as well as some more deeper stuff. We'll get to that in a second. First of all, the way I did it is I basically had a cheat code. I started during COVID. It was easy. It was self-explanatory. I didn't really have a choice. Well, I mean, you can always busy yourself, even in the worst of circumstances, do whatever just to pass time. I didn't do that. I recognized that in order to achieve something, you're either a producer or a consumer, and I wanted to shift that balance from pure consumption to more production. And so I started doing that during lockdown. I had committed to detox myself, dopamine detox myself, to start making YouTube videos, to start learning digital skills, all kinds of stuff. And I never go back to my previous self. That's the interesting bit. After the lockdowns, after the whole thing washed off, I never go back to my usual self, to my very social, normal guy. And that's before I even turned 30, because you could argue that that's a rite of passage. That's when people change, they realign and reprioritize their values. No, it wasn't. It was towards my it was in my late 20s. Okay, and I'll tell you why in a second. But first, why is this important? It's self-explanatory why I had to do it, and why you'll most likely have to do it as well if you want to get rich, if you want to get ripped, if you want to get successful. Because anything that's worth achieving is going to require some level of subtraction of distractions, and more focus on the inputs that will eventually get you what you want to get, right? That's because of systems, that's because of atomic habits. You know that we don't rise to the level of our expectations of ourselves, we fall down to the level of our systems, which is to say that if you don't, so to say, lock yourself in your room, you'll always have distractions, you'll always have things pulling your attention and focus away. Where focus goes, energy flows. A lot of people that are trying to build a business on the side of their job, on the side of their school, on the side of their school, on the side of their other existing commitments, say, I don't have energy, I don't have time. And well, both of them are interlocked. You don't have time because you're spending it elsewhere, and you don't have energy because it's going in a different place where your focus goes. And so that's the thing that you need to contend with and reconcile. And how do you do it? You realize and recognize that this is not a one-way door. If it helps, think of it as a one chapter in your life. It's a one discrete piece of your life, a segment in which you lock down, strap in, and basically get it done. Although chances are that this is going to be such a transformative experience that it will turn out to be more than one chapter, and that's fine. That's ultimately the judo move there, the life hack, because when you think about it, locking yourself in a room, focusing on business, focusing on scaling a company is actually not all doom and gloom. If you recognize why you're doing the other things that you're doing right now, such as going out, hanging out with your friends, seeking all kinds of hedonistic, which means pleasurable experiences, you're doing all of that entertainment for connection, for affinity, because these are human needs and they do need to be satisfied. You need to socialize, you need to have connections, to network with people. All of those things are required. And when you realize that you can satisfy them in a different way, when you realize that all of these things you can actually draw from a context in which you're building businesses, in which you're being productive, in which you're growing on all aspects of your life, going to the gym and all of that. I know it seems hard to maybe recognize it all now, but the trick there is to basically surround yourself with people who do that already, because then that becomes your reality, and then that becomes your benchmark, your baseline, the thing that you compare to. Call it cultural, call it environmental, whatever way, whatever level and layer you want to look at it from, essentially the reason why you think your lifestyle is normal now is because that's what you see around yourself. Well, that's what you choose to see around yourself. Your social media channels are tailored and curated for that same system of values, for the things that you engage with. You look at partying, you look at people in clubs and out on holidays, and you think that that's normal. It's not. It's your normal, and you can absolutely shift it by surrounding yourself with a completely different environment, with completely different people for whom it's normal to be fit, stay ripped all year round, eat clean, not drink, work in the weekends. Why not? Okay. And so really all of this starts with your values. It's not about tactics, it's values, because your system of values is going to dictate your actions. And anything else is excuses. You're basically lying to yourself because you don't want to admit, or you just haven't realized yet, that the thing you say matters to you, such as hitting 10K per month, being ripped, whatever achievement you're striving for, is actually not that important on your system of values, sometimes through no fault of your own. It's not that you don't value it. It's not that you don't want it. It's that the easier way to accept this is to realize that you value something else more. That's basically it. And there's only one place on this hierarchy for each thing that you value. This, unfortunately, is binary. You just can't value two things the same way. Otherwise, it wouldn't be hierarchical. There has to be a degree of comparison between them. If you value your comfort more than you value your achievements, then that's what's going to reign supreme. And when I say you, that's the other nuance to understand is you are not just you as in your conscious self. You are more than just your day-to-day, minute-by-minute decisions. You are your habits, your ingrained responses to situations and stimuli. Which is also the fancy way of saying that in the end, if you're habituated to choose the easy way, to do a bunch of crap, well, then that is the path of least resistance that you're used to taking. And when you recognize that that's something that you're going to have to shift with sheer willpower, that's when basically you're going to be able to turn this into a spiral that takes you towards achievements and not one that takes you towards more of this consumeristic endeavor that got you here watching this video in the first place. And so what do I mean by that? How do you do that? Obviously, you do it gradually. You don't want to basically go ham, although if you can go teetotal on all of these things, then by all means, go for it. Another way to look at it is that basically what you resist persists. If you try to not go out, if you try to not party, if you try to not do all of these things that you're doing right now, that's just not going to work. To not watch Netflix, you need to slowly substitute them. Substitute them with better alternatives that serve you, and accept that there's going to be a bit of resistance, and do it one step at a time. One little yes, one little micro decision every day, and those will compound over time. Okay, my story is I currently don't drink because I do want to live forever. I do want to live healthy, and I want to be able to enjoy the fruits of my labor. Okay, but it's not just that. It's also the fact that I don't want to anymore. It's because I am so focused and enmeshed in what I am doing and pursuing every day that I no longer need to numb myself and stay away in a state of complete dissociation for an evening, for a weekend, for a holiday, whatever it may be. I'm good to just be here, rooted into the concrete, because I can tackle it. And I'm loving it. I'm loving the reality in which I live right now. And so the byproduct of that is that I do have more time to pursue more goals, and that allows me to build, to construct things. And the interesting thing is that I actually don't feel like I'm sacrificing anything. I don't feel like I'm sacrificing partying and socializing, and that deprives me of recognition and affinity and human connection, because I draw them from other endeavors. I draw them from other places. I take immense satisfaction and pride and fulfillment from showing up and doing the work itself. So that is the foundation, the baseline. I can just show up and work, and that's irrespective of anyone else. But yes, I do need to connect with people, except the people that I connect with, the people that I surround myself with are my clients. my clients who are obviously taking a huge part of my time, and I actually make sure that my clients are as much as possible my friends. I'm pretty careful in how I curate and who I allow to become my client, or at least who I retain as a client. I would much rather churn and fire a client that I don't get along with than put myself through misery through meetings and calls with someone that I generally don't enjoy at all. So that's number one, which is definitely a bit of a counterintuitive, unpopular opinion, but it works. It works, and it satisfies me, and it gives me a forum and a space to speak about the things that I care about, and to support and to help and to be valuable, and that makes me feel good. Then I have networks of fellow entrepreneurs that I hang out with, and the very few friends that I've kept around me are so inclined as well. And then I have my partner, right? I can't lie, when it comes to little hacks, like having a girlfriend that I really connect with, having a business partner that I'm absolutely connecting with at all levels, those things make a huge difference. You can literally have one meaningful connection, and that can offset for 10, 20 pathetic, average, mediocre ones. Not to mention, get a dog, work in a library, in a public space. Use these little things if you feel like you're lonely. Entrepreneurship doesn't have to be lonely. I don't feel alone, and neither should you. And you shouldn't feel like you're sacrificing anything, because the moment you feel like you're sacrificing something, you will victimize, and you will start bargaining with yourself, and you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be putting in the work as if someone else is making you, because that's not how you're going to excel at these things. That's not how you're going to go the extra mile. Someone who's there, committed, showing up every day is going to absolutely run laps around you, because they are not racing to the end of the day so that they can then clock out and watch Netflix. And that's basically where you want to get to, I think. To a place where what you do, you love so much that you'd rather not do anything else than that. And so I'll leave you with that. Hope this has been useful, and review where you are with your system of values, with your actions, and see if this lends itself to a bit of action, a bit of a shift in your schedule, in your routine, in the things that you normally gravitate to. And I hope this takes you to a place of fulfillment, to a place of taking action and working actively towards the thing that you want to achieve, which obviously in this case is making money, be free, not being responsible to a boss, to a job that you hate or you just don't like as much, or to that feeling that you know that you could be doing more, way more than you are right now, and you're not doing it. Cool. Until next time.